right, and here is a video review, or Peaugh plays, I guess, and also a video review kind of a couple of games that I picked up. I actually found this while doing some of the Skinny Minis and it was, I originally saw it as a recommended because you liked Skinny Minis and some gaming Kickstarters. They just finished a Kickstarter for a game called Mint Mini, which I did back, which is a same type of deal where it comes in a small tin, and it was basically a Mario Party-esque mini game version of all of the previous releases, of which Mint Works and Mint Cooperative are two of them. And so I went ahead and picked these up to check them out because I looked into all of them. I don't think Mint Bid is publicly released yet. That was the last Kickstarter they did. But I read reviews of the ones that are out. There's Mint Works, Mint Cooperative, Mint Control, Mint Delivery, and Mint Bid are the previous games, and then Mint Mini has mini games of all 5 of those in the 6th game. You can get a little lunch. Look it up on Kickstarter. But I went to check them out, and these are actually some really fun games. They're not super deep. Like, they don't give you the depth you're going to get in a full-on, larger board game. But they introduce you, like each one introduces you to the concept of a different game, and does it, at least with these two, fairly well. Mint Works is a worker placement game, which is basically just kind of putting things around and getting resources that way. Mint Cooperative is very much like a small, simpler version, but the same basic concept. If you've played Marvel Champions, which is another game I'm going to be reviewing, that one's a little bit more in depth because I've been having a lot of fun playing that with Marvel superheroes. But it's a cooperative game where you work together to reduce threat of a villain and save the city. With different mechanics, I like the fact they don't take too long to play. Like either one of these, like 15 to 20 minutes. They're a good kind of in between palate cleanser type of game. If you're taking a break from a more in depth game, or in between bigger board games if you're having a big gaming night. But they're one super portable. They can see that they come in little mint tins, a little thicker than a standard Altoid tin, if I recall. An Altoid tin, I think they're a little thinner, but easily fit in a shirt pocket, coat pocket, gaming bag. Like I said, here's 2 of them. Like I said, they've made a lunch box that can hold all 6 of their games in one container. But if you open it up, you'll see they're called Mint because they use just these little basic mint-shaped tokens. Both of them do. Like you see, this one has some dice and some little superhero meeples. But the basic game mechanic is placing these mints. But like I said, they fit in the game. In the case of Mint Works, there's a rule book in there, but basically you've got different places that go out on the thing, and which side you push up or put facing up depends on how many players. Here's a 1 or 4 player game. Here is a 2 or 3 player game. You can see right here, Leadership Council just stays the same no matter how you're doing it. But yeah, so you lay these out in the grid. The supplier, the builder are the main ones. Wholesaler, lotto. You have to build deeds to on the lotto. And these are some extra ones that you can add. The crowdfunder, the recycler, the temp agency, or the swap meet you can add in. These purple cards, if you want to for a more advanced game, the purple cards are double-sided, and basically you can play all of these games. You can play at least these 2. I'm sure Mint Delivery and Mint Control have some as well. But these little AI cards, and basically this is telling you how they're going to play based on the board state. So if you want to play kind of a solitaire version alone, you've got some AI cards, and like the new Kickstarter is releasing some add-on packs that I'm going to be picking up with some new AIs and some new cards. But if you want to play solitaire, you've got that option. And then the rest of the cards you can see different kinds of things you can build. Like there's the wholesaler to turn the wholesaler into a card you can use down here. And each one you can see has a star value. And what you want to do is be the first person to get 7 stars in their neighborhood. And different conditions can do things. Some of these will give you 2 mints at the beginning of every round. So you don't have to, you have more mints to spend, because you have to spend mints to, first you have to get enough mints, and then you have to spend however many mints here. This is how much the plan costs to buy it, and then you have to spend 2 mints to build it, to put it actually into your neighborhood. And you can see some of them. This one gives you 1 star per face-up environmental building in your neighborhood. So like if you had those 3, that's 3 stars for the museum right there on top of the stars at these. And if you put more mints on this gallery, well, you can see how it works, how it all stacks up. But it's a very simple, very basic to set up. Again, and in each turn, you just put 3 of these out. And then each player takes turn deciding where they're going to put mints. If you have 1 mint on the leadership council gives you the starting player token. And sometimes that's advantageous because one person starts off as a starting player and keeps that token until somebody else takes it. So if you want to be the first person to get something done, later, if the game's going long, it may be advantageous to steal that leadership council token so you can get the first chance to either get a plan, because once somebody buys a plan, obviously it's you can't get it anymore. So maybe there's a plan you really want. You want to make sure you get it. Producer just gives you 2 mints. That's an easy spend, but you can only put mints on 1 card each round. So I couldn't put 1 here and 1 here and 1 here, even if I had the mints. I either put 1 on Leadership Council, or I spend 2 mints to build, or I put a mint here, or I put as many mints as a plan costs onto the supplier. Those go back into the general supply. But it's really quick to play, very simple, and a lot of fun, and fits right in the little tin. I'll go ahead and drop this right back in here, along with the mints. And that's a basic overview of Mint Works. It's very quick. It's a little less complex than Cooperative. Cooperative has a few more rules, but again, very quick to set up, play. My wife and I have had a good time playing that one. Just pulling that out every now and then. It's like, hey, we got a few minutes to kill. Let's play a game of Mint Works. We've enjoyed that one. Mint Cooperative, again, it has these dice, and you can see there's some black spots and some white spots. I'm not going to pull out all these little guys, all these little pieces, but again, little meeples that basically is your character marker for which character you play. And none of them, they each have a different power, but none of them is particularly more advantageous than the other, depending on the scenario you're playing. And then the standard mints. The red ones can be threat or bomb tokens, depending on which villain you're playing against. And then there's the starting player token here, or the first player token, which alternates between players, or which goes counterclockwise each round. So for 2 players, it just kind of goes back and forth. In a 3 or 4 player game, it'll rotate who starts each round. But you roll these dice, and if you roll low, you're good. You don't want to roll high. That advances threat. I'm not going to get super deep into the rules, but it's a lot of fun in how it works. And then inside here, again, you've got the rule book, which is hiding down there at the bottom. But you've got each of you got trouble cards. You got each of the hero cards. Over here, stunt cards, where everybody gets one of those each round. So the superheroes each have there's Fantastic Freshman, Liberty Licorice, General Gundrop, Citizen Cinnamite, the Super Spear, and Peppermint Pizzazz. There's a theme to all these Mint games, just FYI, because you're saving Mint. What city are we making here? Yeah, you're fighting the Dominion of Halitosis. This is just a little, if you want to take a picture after, this is mostly for social media. Look, we saved the day. You can throw this card down. Oh, we lost. Oh no, the Dominion of Halitosis beat us, and then you can hashtag it. But yeah, trouble cards can form 1 or 2 stacks depending on what kind of game you're playing. So there are some simpler things that only use 1 stack of trouble cards. And then within here, there's mayhem cards. And basically your goal is to get through all the mayhem cards. There's 3. They'll go in randomly. You make 3 piles of 5, shuffle a mayhem card into each pile, and then shuffle that whole pile together, and then stack that whole pile together. So it's set up so you're not going to hit all 3 mayhem cards right off the bat and win immediately. It does set up a delay in the game, so you're not just burning through those mayhem cards. Well, and when those come up, different things happen. Then stunt cards give your characters different powers, like if you take a 5, because basically you roll the dice and that's your dice pool. Each player takes a turn. You roll the 4 dice. First player grabs a die and does what that power says. Like in this case, here's a stunt. If you grab the 5, you could reduce regional panic by 7. That's fairly powerful because panic is basically the threat meter. And you can set the threat meter up either horizontally or vertically. It's up to you. But basically you want to keep the threat low and not have, because if it hits 27, you've lost. Before if it hits 27 before you've gone through all the mayhem cards, you lose the game. So pulling that down around is a fairly powerful card. But there's little things like that. There's like reduce regional panic. All players may run to a location and reduce regional panic by 2. So that would rearrange some characters on the board if you need to get to a different space. Fly to any location and add mints until no threat is exposed. Again, that's city cards. We'll talk about those in a minute. But there's different stunt cards. In each round, you get a stunt. When the round is over, that gets discarded. You get a new stunt for the next round. There is the city Mintopia. Basically, you lay out as Mintopia City. I think I'm doing this upside down. I am doing this upside down. But basically, the city lays out like this. I absolutely did this backwards. Yeah, it's supposed to look purple. This is supposed to be the top. I just basically flip these around. So you set them up to match this. So that's basically Mintopia City. Here's Mintopia City and the surrounding suburbs, like this. And then this is basically what each. If you don't have a stunt or don't want to use your stunt, this is what each dice you can grab was. 1, mint 1. Basically, every city you can see there's threat exposed, and when mayhem cards show up, the threat goes up by how much of this is exposed on the board. Each city starts off with 3 mints in the first 3 slots. Different things will cause the city to lose them or add one. In this case, mint 1 would let you put a mint anywhere. You have to go across. You can't just put it over a threat. You have to build up. But put a mint on a city or on the city that you're on. Mint 2, the same idea. Run in mint 1, you can do in any order. Basically, you could take your superhero and either put a mint here and then move to Mintopia City if you were here, or you could, if this was getting low, you could move to Mintopia City and then put a mint on it to help cover up some threat. Fly and reduce panic by 3. That reduces panic. It's the same kind of thing in either order. And basically, if you can fly, run, you can only move to an adjoining city. Fly, you can move. If I were down here in Licorice Landing, I could fly all the way up to Gumdrop Gully. Whereas if I run, I can only go to one of these 2 cities because they're adjacent. Heroic Feat will let you do whatever is on your card. Or a stunt. Well, the stunts all have different levels. That one was 5 for the example, but here's a 4, a 3. It depends on what stunt you've got, and that may be more advantageous than your heroic feat. But they each have a different feat. You can use your power. And 6, exploit weakness. Each villain has a thing that says this guy drops bombs. So if you roll a 6, you can swap a red mint with a white mint, and the bomb counts as a panic. So that'll help reduce that. This one, Cold Turkey, just reduces regional panic by 3. Brush reduces plaque by 1 and regional panic by 2. That's Placula. He has some different plaque-based powers that, again, get into on his character card. But then there's Garlic Gingivitis, Placula, Nicotine, and Sir Halitosis are the villains. And again, the Mint Mini has an add-on that will add more villains to it. But that's essentially it. Like I said, it's very much like Marvel Champions, where there's a threat meter and a villain you're trying to defeat, and each round you have to choose your actions between, stopping the villain, saving the city, reducing the threat, until all 3 of the mayhem cards have come up. And if you make it through all the mayhem cards without threat hitting 27, or any of the potential lose conditions on other villains. Nicotine is probably the easiest person to start. Each one of these starts off with a certain amount of threat. Like Grillick starts off with 2, and you would think he was easy, but we tried it, and he actually builds up threat really quickly. Whereas Nicotine starts off at 4, but does not have any additional setup cards, so you don't have the second trouble deck, because a trouble deck can. I'll show you a trouble card where it's here's the layout of the city, and if this trouble card came up, every card in red counts. This is only this little explosive symbol is only for certain powers, like Gorilla has one of them. But basically, every card that's red, you take 1 mint off of. So that's a pretty damaging card. That's going to take 1 mint off of every city. For example, this card, you want to make sure north is facing north, so you're looking at it. So this card would take 2 mints off of Gumdrop Gully and Licorice Landing, which, as you can see, will expose threat and could make things worse the next time a Mayhem card comes up. So this one would, it only affects Mintopia City, but it takes 3 whole mints off of it, which would, if it only had 3 mints on it, would expose a lot of threat on there. And basically you work your way through that deck until you get through all the Mayhem cards. So it's a really neat little cooperative. You're not fighting. Like, everybody at the table is working toward a common goal. It's not a I'm going to beat you up type of game. Whereas, like, Mint Works is more competitive. Like, there is a winner, whereas the whole table wins or loses depending on how well they work together in this one. It's a lot of fun. Again, these are a lot of fun little games, and like I said, it's not as deep as or varied as a Marvel Champions round, as a game of Marvel Champions, but it's super tiny and it fits in your pocket versus having to have 3 or 4 different decks of cards to play Marvel Champions and a lot more table space. So I haven't tried Mint Control, mostly because, like, reviews I've read about it say it can get kind of mean, and I'm mostly looking for games where we can all have fun playing here in the house. But like I said, it's up to you. It's a control type game, and if you want to play it, maybe check it out. But I have not personally played the Mint Control. Mint Bid, Mint Delivery, again, is trucks. Everybody's controlling a truck and is basically taking and delivering orders, again, with the little Mint tokens and things like that. And that's one that I'm interested in and may pick up down the road. But the general consensus was it was kind of like, it's okay. It also looks like it has, on top of the mints and meeples, it looks like it has a lot more little cardboard token pieces. And one of the things I like about these games, especially Mint Works, is that while there are a lot of mint tokens, there's not a lot of extraneous little to deal with. It's a real quick lay out the cards, everybody gets their mints, boom, and when you're playing, you can just keep the mints in the tin, so it's got a nice little, like, it's even like you're just grabbing a mint out of the tin, which is a lot of fun too. And if you lose any of these mints, you can just use real mints. But very fun pocket versions of games. These are the 2 I've checked out. When Mint Mini gets here, I'll check that out as well. Although I don't think that's due to hit until March or April, I think is when it's due to ship. But maybe I'll pick up Mint Delivery in the meantime. But if you're just looking for a cheap, quick, carry-around, fun game, like I said, these are both a lot of fun. I've had fun with both of these. Probably Mint Works is a very quick, basic game. Probably the most bang for your buck in both ease of play, lack of a whole lot of setup, and lack of a lot of complicated rules. Still a very strategic, fun game with a very simple setup and a quick play time. Mint Cooperative is fun as well. I like the superhero theme. I like the little superhero meeples. I like that it's cooperative. I'm really big into cooperative games here in the house because we all have a lot more fun doing them. Although we have some competitive games, like Happy Little Dinosaurs is a fun one. Kabuto Sumo, which I've probably already put the review up for, is a lot of fun. And obviously Necro Molds. There are some fun competitive games, but it's a neat little superhero game that, again, fits in your pocket. Not as deep as Marvel Champions, but fun. But I think these 2 games from the Mint collection are definitely worth picking up. I think if I had to pick one, despite my love of superheroes, I'd probably go with Mint Works. I think it's just a general, more fun, going to appeal to a larger audience all-around game, as well as a little quicker to set up, take down, and play. Mint Cooperative, though, if you're looking for a game you can all play together and work towards a common goal, it's a really nice little pocket cooperative game. There they are, Mint Works and Mint Cooperative. Check them out if you're looking for a fun little game that you can just take with you pretty much everywhere. Both of them have solo modes. This one also has a solitaire mode that I didn't get into. So you can... I think all of their games have a solo mode. Although, again, I think the solitaire mode on Mint works a little easier, is a little easier to set up and get going than on Mint Cooperative. So yeah, there you go. The Mint series of games. Definitely check them out.